Hey Liam, let me ask you something. I think many English learners believe they need to create every single sentence from scratch. Is that really how native speakers communicate?
Not at all, Emma. That is probably one of the absolute biggest misconceptions about fluency. If you pay close attention to real life, you'll notice the exact same expressions appearing over and over again when natives talk. They're simply reused in different situations.
So they're not speaking faster just because they're more creative?
Exactly. They speak faster because they're making fewer decisions. Instead of building every sentence word by word, they are just retrieving pre-built phrases from their brain.
So today's method is really about working smarter instead of working harder.
That's the whole idea. The copy and paste method helps you stop creating everything from zero and start using English that is already proven to work in the real world.
So where does this method actually begin?
It begins with a completely different mindset shift. Instead of waking up and asking yourself, what new words should I learn today? You need to ask, what complete sentence would I actually say today?
That feels like a much more useful and realistic question.
It changes everything, because now you're actively hunting for language you can immediately use, instead of just hoarding vocabulary you simply understand on paper.
So instead of collecting isolated words, we should be collecting complete, ready-to-use sentences.
Exactly. Every useful sentence is like a pre-built tool in your toolbox. The next time you need it, you don't build it, you just take it out and use it.
But how do we know if a sentence is actually worth keeping and copying?
You run it through one simple filter. Can I honestly imagine myself saying this exact sentence next week?
That's a great filter because it forces you to think about your own real-life routines and conversations.
Exactly. If the answer is yes, you copy and paste it. If the answer is no, you let it go and look for something that actually fits your life.
Could you give us a quick example of a high-value sentence?
Imagine you hear a native say, "I've been really busy lately." That's a super basic sentence, right? But think about how many real-life situations you could instantly drop that into.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's 1,000,000 times more valuable than spending hours learning 10 advanced vocabulary words you'll probably never say out loud.
Spot on, Emma. One practical, highly repeatable sentence is always worth much more than 10 isolated words from a textbook list.
I already feel like I'm going to watch English videos completely differently after today's lesson. So, what is the next step?
The next step is creating something I call your copy file. It's simply a dedicated place where you save the sentences you genuinely want to use.
So, it's completely different from a traditional vocabulary notebook.
Night and day. A traditional vocabulary notebook usually collects raw information. A copy file collects actual conversation.
What kind of sentences truly belong in there?
Only the ones that pass your filter. The ones that make you stop and think, yeah, I can absolutely imagine myself saying that.
So we're being much more selective about what we spend our energy on.
Exactly. Your goal isn't to save everything under the sun. Your goal is to save what sounds highly useful for your specific life.
I think many learners hoard expressions just because they sound advanced or fancy.
That is a very common trap. Advanced English doesn't always help you communicate smoothly. Useful English does.
Could you give us an example of a perfect copy file sentence?
Imagine you're watching a video and a native speaker says, "I'll let you know." That is a flawless candidate for your copy file.
Because I could literally use that almost every single day.
Exactly. You can use it with friends, coworkers, classmates, or family. One simple copied sentence suddenly does the heavy lifting in dozens of different situations.
So frequency and how often a phrase is used matters much more than how difficult it is.
So much more. If you hear the exact same sentence over and over again in different videos or podcasts, that's a huge green light that it's worth keeping.
I think many learners ignore those super common expressions because they just seem too easy on paper.
They do, and that's a massive missed opportunity. Common expressions are exactly what make everyday conversations sound natural and effortless.
Once I've found a great sentence and added it to my copy file, should I immediately try to change it up and personalize it?
Actually, I recommend doing the exact opposite.
Really? Why is that?
Because your first job isn't to modify or improve the sentence. Your first job is to become 100% comfortable using it exactly as native speakers do. You want to use the original version several times before you try changing anything.
I see. I think many learners immediately start replacing words because they want to make it their own right away.
That's completely understandable, but it usually creates unnecessary mental work. First, master the base pattern. Then, and only then, make it your own.
That sounds like a much less stressful way to learn.
It really is, because you're drastically reducing the number of split-second decisions your brain has to make when you speak.
So, when do we know it's finally time to change the sentence?
When saying the original version feels completely automatic and natural. That's the signal that your brain has locked it in and is ready to use it as a flexible template.
Could you show us a quick example of what that looks like in action?
Of course. Let's go back to that sentence, "I've been really busy lately." Use that exact phrase several times in different days. Once it's automatic, you can effortlessly change it to, "I've been really tired lately," or "I've been really excited lately."
Oh, I see. So I'm changing only one small piece at the very end.
Exactly. You keep the foundation solid. That is how native speakers naturally build endless variation without ever stopping to think about grammar.
I think many learners believe every single new idea requires a completely brand new sentence built from scratch.
That is one of the absolute biggest myths about fluency. In reality, one single useful pattern can create dozens of completely different sentences.
So, learning just one high-value sentence is actually much more powerful than it first appears.
Absolutely. You're not just learning one isolated sentence. You're unlocking a solid structure that your brain can reuse again and again.
That completely changes how I look at studying English.
That's exactly what I hope happens, because once learners truly understand this concept, English suddenly feels much less overwhelming.
Liam, you've completely changed the way I think about collecting English, but I'm still wondering, where should we actually look to find these useful sentences?
That's a great question, because the answer is much simpler than most learners expect. The best place isn't a dry textbook. It's the English content you are already consuming every single day.
So we're talking about YouTube videos, podcasts, movies, and TV shows?
Exactly. Those places are absolutely packed with English that people genuinely use in the real world. You're listening to real-life conversations that were created to sound natural, not to teach a boring grammar rule.
I think many learners watch those videos only for entertainment and completely tune out the language.
They do, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying them. The only difference is that now you're watching with a brand new purpose.
Ah, I get it. Instead of only following the story, I'm also actively keeping an eye out for sentences I can borrow.
That's exactly right. You're no longer just a passive viewer. You're becoming an English hunter.
I love that expression. What kind of sentence should make me hit pause when I'm hunting in those videos?
Look for the one that hits you and makes you think, wow, that sounds exactly like something I'd love to say.
I really like that because it's a very personal filter.
Another learner might choose a completely different sentence, and that's perfectly fine.
So everyone's copy file will eventually look different.
That's one of the best parts of this method. Your collection becomes unique because it's based on your own conversations and your own lifestyle.
I imagine that makes the sentences much easier to remember.
It certainly does, because your brain already knows why you saved them.
How quickly should learners try using a new sentence?
As soon as possible. The shorter the time between discovering a sentence and using it, the stronger that memory becomes.
So waiting a few weeks isn't the best strategy.
Not at all. If possible, try using it the same day or the very next day.
That sounds much more practical than waiting until I feel completely confident.
Confidence usually comes after using the sentence, not before.
I think that's another mindset many learners need to hear.
Absolutely. Don't wait until a sentence feels perfect. Use it until it feels familiar.
I imagine that's exactly what native speakers do.
It is. They become comfortable because they repeat expressions naturally over time.
Something else just came to mind. What if I collect a sentence and realize a few weeks later that I never use it?
Then simply let it go. Your copy file isn't a museum. It's a toolbox. If a tool doesn't help you anymore, replace it with one that does.
I love that comparison because toolboxes change as our needs change.
Exactly. As your English improves, your collection will naturally improve too.
I think that's what makes this method feel so different. It isn't about sounding like a textbook. It's about sounding like yourself.
That's exactly the goal. Before you go, we'd love to hear from you. What's one English sentence you've heard recently that made you think, I'm definitely going to start using that? Leave it in the comments because your sentence might become someone else's next favorite expression.
And if you enjoyed today's lesson, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Now that you've learned how to collect natural English, it's time to train your brain to use those expressions faster. In the next lesson, we'll do a practical speaking workout that helps you think, react, and respond more naturally in real conversations.
It's the perfect next step because collecting English is only the beginning. Using it quickly is what turns those expressions into real fluency.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
Keep collecting.
Keep speaking.
And we'll see you in the next lesson.
Bye.
Bye.